Chapter 6.6, Finding the Vertex. There are three different ways that you can find the vertex from a parabola. First way is to look at the equation inspection. Second is the vertex formula. And third is graphing using a calculator. The first way is equation inspection. If we take the equation that looks like this in this form, here's an example. We know that this value k moves us up and down along the y-axis. We know that this value h moves us left and right along the x-axis, and that this sign is always the opposite. So we know that this is h right here. The opposite sign is 3. We know that this k is -4. Remember we said xy, hk? Well, vertex is xy, hk. H is 3, k is -4, and you have the vertex. All you have to do is look here and here. Equation inspection. The next way of finding the vertex for a parabola is the vertex formula. Take a look at the format now of this equation. It is different than looking than this one, but they both represent the equation for a quadratic. So coming over here now, we have a formula that has to be remembered. Yes, x equals the value of x equals -b over 2a. When you think about the quadratic equation, remember there was one way of solving that with the -b plus or minus square root of 4ac, b squared minus 4ac over 2a. Well, this is the first part, -b over 2a. So if you remember that equation, then you'd be able to remember this. Going on, we need a and we need b. So here's a is 1 and b is -4. Substitute them in, and we have negative, and b is -4 over 2 times a, which is 1. We have a +4 over 2, which is 2. That means x equals 2. Now remember, vertex is a point, so we need the y value of that point. You take this x value 2 and go to the original equation and just substitute that in. And your y will equal 0. So now you have an x and a y, so you have the vertex, 2, 0. Third way of finding the vertex of a parabola is to graph it using the calculator. This is explained in our textbook on page 256. The one thing you have to know about this is, in order to find the vertex, you need to understand whether it is the minimum or the maximum point after you graph the parabola. So basically, you're going to graph the parabola at the y equals, and then look at the graph and decide whether it opens up or down, and so therefore whether this vertex is a maximum endpoint. Alright, so besides just looking at the textbook, we have an example here, and it's part of the Your Turn, and it would be question 6.6, number 9. Wait till this comes up a second, and here we go.
Use a graphing calculator to graph the function and to find the vertex. So in order for us to graph the function with the graphing calculator, we need to start by going to y equals on the calculator, and we're going to input our function. So it's f of x equals 2x squared plus 8x plus 5. So that's our function ready to go, and now we want to graph it. So we're going to press graph, and there's our function. So we want to find the vertex. So the best way to find the vertex is to have the calculator find it for us. So if you look at your graph here, it's a parabola facing upward, so that means that we have a minimum value. So we're going to calculate by pressing second, trace, which gives us the calculate function, and we want to find the minimum. So we're going to go down to minimum, which is option 3, and press enter. So now it's asking us to set up boundaries. So we want to set up our left boundary just on the left side of the vertex, anywhere on the left. Then we're going to set up the right boundary anywhere on the right side of the vertex. And so now when it says guess, it's asking us basically, are you ready for me to give you the answer? And I do want it to, so I'm going to say enter. And then we have our minimum value here. So we're going to just round that x-coordinate and say that the x-coordinate of the vertex is -2 and the y-coordinate of the vertex is -3.